Hi everyone, Chris here with a camera comparison. So it is the Xiaomi Mix 4 up against the iPhone 12 Pro Max and then the Mi 11 Ultra. So with the front-facing cameras right now, I'll be swapping over the audio sources. Big difference here. So the iPhone clearly dominates with the front-facing vlog footage quality. 4K 30, 4K 60. The Xiaomi's, they top out at only 1080p. Unfortunately, they really do need to step up their game, Xiaomi, and give us 4K with the front-facing cameras. So all three of these have electronic image stabilization that it's currently applying, and you can see with the under-display camera on the Mix 4, it does not look as good as the other two phones, but not actually too bad for an under-display camera. So let's move over to the rear cameras now. And our main cameras now, so we've got 108 megapixels on the Mix 4, 12 megapixels on the iPhone 12 Pro Max, and 50 megapixels on the 11 Ultra. Main camera video, so with the Mix 4 we have a 108 megapixel camera. Then with the iPhone 12 Pro Max it's 12 megapixels for all of their sensors, and on the Mi 11 Ultra it is a 50 megapixel main camera here. So all three of them do have electronic image stabilization with video. There's optical on the iPhone, optical on the Mi 11 Ultra here. So a short jog ahead, testing that stability. And we do have a bit of a storm that is rolling in here at the moment. And if I pan around, we shouldn't see any judder coming through, not at 4K 30 frames per second. So let me know in the comments, which do you think has the best main camera video quality and the audio quality too, as I swap over between the three different phones. Now the ultra wide cameras, so again all three are using electronic image stabilization here to steady out the image. Which one do you think is the best? Another short little jog, testing that stability. And here I have noticed, at least on the Mix 4 sometimes, that when I do pan around, sometimes there's a little bit of judder that comes through as a result of the exposure changes and the electronic image stabilization. This is now 4K 60 frames per second. For me in the past, the iPhone has actually been the best at shooting 4K 60. Maybe to do with that Bionic A14 just having so much raw power, that really does help out. Now I found that focus across all three of these has been just fine here. No problems locking on. And then another little jog testing out that stability if you were to be running behind someone, for example. Zoom cameras now, so we've got 5 times optical zoom on the Mi 11 Ultra. It's a 48 megapixel sensor. It should be the best here in theory. 2.5 times optical zoom on the iPhone 12 Pro Max, and then I am using a 2 times digital zoom on the Mix 4. So I am going to just move and walk a little bit just to test out the stability of these cameras here once zoomed in recording video. Now you can see it shakes around a little bit more on the Mi 11 Ultra, but that's understandable because it's 5 times optical with its periscope setup. And just pan around now, there shouldn't be any judder coming through on these. Let's move over to low light now. So here it is obviously between the iPhone 12 Pro Max and then the Mi 11 Ultra with the front-facing cameras. The under-display camera in the Mix 4, yeah, we can just completely write that one off here. In low light, it does not look that good. Of course, the camera needs to see through and around those pixels that are covering it. That's why it doesn't look so good here. As I step into the light, it's looking a little bit better. Now let's have a look at the rear cameras in low light. So here we're looking at 4K 30 frames per second across all three of them. I don't seem to be doing too bad here considering that it is about 11:30 at night here, but there is a lot of bright ambient lights on, of course that is helping it. So as I step over into this area, it's going to be a little bit more difficult now, less light. We'll see how these perform, and let me know in the comments which one do you think in these difficult conditions at night here, shooting the best low light 4K video. And now with the ultra wide, so there is a huge advantage on the Mi 11 Ultra having a 48 megapixel ultra wide camera versus a 12 megapixel in the iPhone, and then a 13 megapixel one in the Mix 4. So in theory, it should do the best here. As I pan around, they are looking very, very similar, just looking at the phone screens here. And even I think the iPhone is capturing this a little bit better with the lights. Okay, so here are my own findings here. This is all subjective, of course, but front video footage, iPhone 12 Pro Max. Got to give it to them. They've got the 4K 30, 4K 60, the Xiaomi's, both of them, in fact, all Xiaomi phones up until now do not shoot 4K with the front-facing cameras, which is really lagging behind. I mean, they're flagship phones. Come on. Get up with the times there, Xiaomi. With the color and video, the iPhone 12 Pro Max or the Mix 4 was more true to life. I did find that the Mi 11 Ultra would overdo the saturation, or the blues in the sky was just, yeah, it was too much. Audio, Mi 11 Ultra for the richest, clearest sound, I think. But the iPhone 12 Pro Max did a much better job at handling wind noise, which is something that's going to often happen when you're out. So that's probably actually the one to go for if you want the best audio quality. I'd rather have the wind noise handled better, not ruining my audio, than being as clear as the Mi 11 Ultra. Now the still shots. Daytime stills, iPhone 12 Pro Max aced quite a few of them, especially that very difficult red hibiscus flower. It managed to get that without clipping the reds too much. The Mi 11 Ultra, disappointing with that shot. It oversaturated it, clipped the reds, not so great. Now the portraits. Mi 11 Ultra, I think they look more pleasant. Just better contrast. iPhone looked way too warm. They always do this. So with the portraits and the selfie shots, they increase the warm tones of it, and I don't like the way they do that. I wish it would be a little bit more neutral with that. Selfies, I think the iPhone was the better then, but again, a little bit too warm. Low light selfies, iPhone 12 Pro Max, again, good. And then the rear shots in low light, the iPhone 12 Pro Max, I think actually came out on top just. There were some of the shots there that it wasn't so good at, but then it came back with other ones there. So it's a bit mixed there, but I think overall, actually, the iPhone 12 Pro Max. All right, so I think that overall, the general winner, if I have to pick one, would be the iPhone 12 Pro Max in most areas, apart from, of course, the zoom cameras, where the Mi 11 Ultra has a definite advantage there. 5 times optical periscope camera. It has a 48 megapixel sensor for that. So that's where it can beat out the iPhone 12 Pro Max. And then the iPhone 12 Pro Max in the portraits did lose out because of those just overly warm tones that they use with portraits and selfie photos. So thank you so much for watching this comparison, and I do hope to see you back in the next one. Subscribe for more.